This is the High School Football America podcast for May the 2nd, 2024. I'm Jeff Fisher. The High School Football America podcast is brought to you by GameStrat, America's premier sideline instant replay system with outstanding reliability, faster speed than Huddle's sideline, and GameStrat has awesome customer service along with different plans priced right for every coach's budget. And if you mention High School Football America when you're talking to the fine folks at GameStrat, they will offer you an HSFA friends and family discount. Now, to get the demo, go to GameStrat.com, or you can click on the GameStrat banner ad located on every page of HighSchoolFootballAmerica.com. And speaking of GameStrat, the guys are going nuts as they're getting ready for Texas. Yes, Texas high school football coming into the 21st century. That's my opinion, because a lot of states have been using sideline technology like instant replay, like GameStrat, for years. And the Lone Star State, well, they have just approved it. Of course, the Lone Star State follows NCAA rules. NCAA recently announced that it's going to allow sideline tablet instant replay. Texas, a little bit different than the NCAA. The UIL approves the use of the video and data technology, computers, tablets, iPads, smartphones, stuff like that during the game. However, the UIL stops short of allowing the technology on the field, on the sidelines during the game. Instead, the governing body is going to allow the use of the technology in the coaching booths and at halftime in the locker room. So no better time than to get the guys from GameStrat on the line. We've been working with them for 5 years now. Folks, we have had hundreds of people change over. I think it might be above 500 at this point. And they have made those switches for many reasons. When I make a personal call on the behalf of GameStrat, I tell all the coaches I'm talking to, it's because these guys have customer service out the wazoo. If I had enough time, I'd tell you what they did in one case out at Saguaro in Arizona, the powerful Saguaro Sabercats. But trust me, folks, they actually got on a plane and got there and helped him out when they were having some issues that were actually on the side of Saguaro. But we're talking Texas football right now, and the brother from another mother, Ben Fisher, no relation to me, the director of sales at GameStrat, is on the line right now to talk about some excitement going on in the office right now as they gear up to get into Texas. It's just an exciting time. You've been waiting for a while, Ben. What's your initial reaction to the fact that the Lone Star State is ready for GameStrat?
Yeah, Jeff, thanks for having me on here. Really excited to be on to chat with you about it, and obviously really excited here at the office. Everybody is. It's both NCAA and Texas on board with sideline replay now. So you said it best. It's been a long time coming. We feel like kind of each year we're watching, hoping, and things are finally coming to fruition. So it's a very exciting time.
Yeah, and Texas is the big state, right? And I can hear my people in Florida and Southern California and Georgia already saying, "Fisher, shut up." Texas is not number one. We're 1A, B, C, and D or something like that. But anyway, all kidding aside, let's just kind of talk about GameStrat in general for the people that are not familiar with your product. One of the things that I always love to talk about when I talk to a coach who says, "Hey, Fish, what do you think of GameStrat?" is it's made by players, former college football players. I mean, it's such an interesting story. I would love for you to start there, because I think that's a big deal, right? When coaches know that players, came up with this product, that's really cool. They like stuff like that. It's not just some egghead sitting in an office someplace going, "Well, I think this technology might work for football." This is a great football product made by football people. You can't beat it. Ben, talk a little bit about GameStrat's history, the founding of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically our whole company is still, even as we grow, made up of former college football players, college athletes all around. But really it all started when my good friend and colleague and our CEO, Tunch, him and I were playing football together. He was studying software engineering at the University of Ottawa. It was something at the time that was brand new. Nobody was really doing it. Our coach was iMessaging, like texting, emailing photos from the press box down to the sideline. Tunch took it upon himself to kind of create something as his capstone project that we used in our last season playing there. Got a lot of interest around the league from other teams seeing us doing what we were doing. And then just kind of took off from there as I joined him right after we graduated. And yeah, just kind of rolled along from there, continue to build the product. One big thing we do every year is take in a lot of customer feedback, what people want to see, improvements. And so we've done that from the start, and just continue to get better and better with it every year.
Talking with Ben Fisher, Director of Sales at GameStrat. And I mentioned, the customer service. And like I said, it would take a little bit more to tell the Saguaro story, but I thought it was always great because my good friend Jason Mons, who's now at Arizona State, was the head coach at the time, and he and I were talking just offline. I didn't even know. We put you guys together, and we knew things were going great, but then there was a little problem and all that. And when Jason called me back and he said, "Fish, these guys came out, man, and I can't say enough about their customer service." So with that being said, I know you're customer service friendly and all that, but let's kind of put that into a capsule for people, because we do know in the space that we're in that there are times when phones aren't being answered. That's not the case with GameStrat. So talk a little bit about your philosophy on that.
Yeah, support is something we take very seriously. We pride ourselves on it here. We understand as former players that the stress and the pressure that goes into game time, and when you pay for something, you want it to work, you need it to work at game time. So we have dedicated people all in-house who are working Friday nights, maybe Thursdays, Saturdays as well. Basically any game day, we map out the schedules of all of our teams to know when those game times are. We're checking in with people each week to make sure the experience is good, or great for that matter. And then on top of that, really, it all comes down to, we treat every team as our own, and we see the success of our teams as our success. So we never want to have a team, even if it's a small hiccup, a question, anything they need help with, we're going to be there to make sure that GameStrat is operating perfectly for them.
Every coach that has asked me and has had an opportunity to work with GameStrat and made the switch, very, very happy, and always talk about how pleased they are that they've made the switch. And let's talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the room, because one of the biggest questions is huddle, right? And there's huddle sideline, and we always talk about how much faster it is. But the big thing is, you can carve out that part of it, right? You're completely compatible with huddle, and I don't want to take words out of your mouth, and certainly I can't speak to all of the things but let's talk about that for the coaches that are listening, whether you're in Texas and you're new to replay, or you're a team in whatever state it may be, Pennsylvania, Florida, Georgia, that wants to understand how GameStrat fits into the overall complex of game day on the sidelines.
Yeah, so as you said there, we switch a ton of teams from huddle sideline every year. So that's really almost all of our customers have come from huddle sideline. And I think the important thing to kind of get across is we only replace huddle sideline. We're sideline replay focused. That's all we do. That's what we try and own and perfect. And that's really why we have created an advantage over huddle sideline for the teams that switch. They get a much better product, a much more reliable product. Like you mentioned, faster video transfer, a lot more tagging capabilities, so for some in-game analytics and tendency reports and things. And yeah, in terms of integrating with huddle, like I mentioned, all of our teams really are still using huddle for their post-game. Everything from GameStrat exports directly from our system into there, including that breakdown data that I mentioned. So for most teams, it's actually saving them time compared to using huddle sideline, because you're able to move everything in. Your breakdown is done for you. You're not sitting there Friday nights, Saturday mornings, going back and retagging your film. And then even with some of the newer stuff that Huddle has put out, like the Huddle Focus camera, that's a really common question we get. We're fully compatible with that. You can plug that into our system for your press box feed. No issues there. Anything that you guys have done with Huddle sideline before is going to be able to be done with GameStrat as well.
Fantastic. Great to hear. It's been fun as a fellow entrepreneur myself. It's been fun to watch you guys, start out just like, High School Football America did 20 years ago. And, we all learn, right? It's trial and error as we go through things. And I've the reason I'm making the pitch as strong as I am is I've worked with these guys for 5 years. Yes, they're a partner with us, and you know what that means. But that being said, as everyone knows listening, High School Football America does not partner with anybody that it hasn't kicked the tires on 28 times, and they're in the same mindset we are, which is for the betterment of the game. And GameStrat is definitely a betterment in the great game of high school football. Now, I know this may be a little early to ask this question, so if you want to defer some of the comment on it, I'll let you have that. But, obviously, as I said at the top, the Texas rule is different than the NCAA rule, and it's different than, I think it's like all the states around America where, there's now sideline instant replay. If you're a fan, folks, and you go out there and you see a team if the defense comes off the field and you see them watching television, they're not watching the latest episode of Cheers or MASH or anything like that. They're actually watching what just happened out there. So my question is this, Ben, since there is a difference, have you thought about that? I mean, your technology is your technology and it can be used anywhere, but how do you think it fits into Texas where they won't be able to use it on the sideline? They can use it in the booth. They can use it in the locker room. Is that a fair question to ask this early on?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something, we've thought a lot about it in the past couple of days. It was definitely a surprise to hear that because, like you mentioned, it's different than everywhere else that's doing the sideline replay. I think one thing that's come up for us is just wording. Like, it's not necessarily sideline replay in this case anymore, but in-game video, I guess, is maybe the better way to put it. But with our system, it's going to operate the same way. You're still going to get a lot of great value for those coaches up in the press box. And I think it's only a matter of time before they add in the ability to have it on the sideline too. I'm sure it's just a stepping stone to kind of get everybody on board one piece at a time there. And I'll say one great part of our system is it is very plug and play, where a lot of our competitors, it's a very specific sort of setup routine you have to go through. And if things aren't done a certain way, the system's not going to work. Ours, if one game you need your end zone angle, next game you don't, it's really not going to affect the whole system there. So same thing with adding a sideline component to it. If this year it's just up in the press box, you can have GameStrat, use it there, take it in your halftime locker room. And then next year you want to add that in the sideline, quick little plug and play piece to make that happen. So still really excited about it. I think it's going to be really, really great for the game down in Texas.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Ben Fisher on the line from GameStrat, Director of Sales. One of the things I noticed when we put the story up on highschoolfootballamerica.com was when the NCAA made the ruling that it could be used on the sideline, one of the stories I saw you wrote was, hey, our product for the high schools has worked in big stadiums, right? Allegiant Stadium, where the Nevada high school football championships are played, home of the Las Vegas Raiders and all that. Now, of course, going into Texas, we know Texas has its Taj Mahals. It's got those, multi-million-dollar stadiums and all that. Let's talk about those stadiums and putting aside any fears the coaches may have that, this technology won't work in our big house.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's something we hear all the time. Question we're getting a lot, definitely in the college space, because those stadiums are big. But like you mentioned, Jeff, there we've worked in all those big stadiums already. These high school teams going to state championships, they're playing at those pro stadiums, those college stadiums. We're actually based up in Canada too, so we work with all of the Canadian university teams here. And they're a good chunk of them, anyways, are playing in the CFL stadium. So I know that's a long way from Texas geographically, but stadium size, we're dealing with those same big stadiums, big crowds, 25 up to 40,000 people, and never had any issues with the connectivity and things like that. So that's something that we definitely specialize in. We've got a unique setup on the back end and how we handle video transfer, how we configure our antennas to really ensure that they're going to work in those more chaotic environments. So yeah, I'm not worried about it by any means. I'm excited for it to be in those big stadiums from a marketing photos perspective. It's going to look good to get some pictures back from some of the teams we'll have using it there this year.
No doubt, some good marketing in there, Ben. Another thing, and I think again, high school football, especially with like the High School Football America 300, there's a keeping up with the Joneses, right? Those when we know all the programs, the names can roll off the tongue, and I thought it'd be a good time for you to talk about some of the people that are using it. I know that Matt Logan at Corona Centennial was an early adopter and switcher over to you guys. Can you name some of those names that people will know in Texas and go, oh, wait, you mean that team's using it? This team's using it? Because you guys have had a lot of cool people make the switch.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned a few of the big ones already that play those sort of countrywide schedules there to state. And like you said, Matt Logan there at Corona Centennial, I believe since 2019. St. Thomas Aquinas is another big one down in Florida. There, you mentioned Saguaro in Arizona. Chandler's another big one in Arizona. St. Joseph's Prep over there in Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh Central Catholic, just to name a few there. I don't want to go on forever.
Yeah, you don't have to give the whole list, but I mean,
testimonials, case studies on our site. Yeah.
Yeah. Go to GameStrat.com because all that's up there. And like I said, I just wanted to make sure that we got some of those names in there because they're making the switch. And these programs are serious programs. I mean, out of the ones that you just mentioned there, I didn't really count all of them, but I at least 4 of them were in the top 15 in America last year, not only in High School Football America, but all the ranking services. Folks, those people take football seriously. They want to have every advantage they can during the game. So the people in Texas there that are listening, those big programs, the North Shores, the Cadies, the Allens, I could go on and on. Westlake, did I get them in? DeSoto, all of these programs. Man, we gotta get you on board here and talk to the good folks at GameStrat, GameStrat.com for a demo. Tunch and I have talked about this before, so has Ben, so I'm not speaking out of line here. But if you mention High School Football America after you hear this, call them up, say, hey, I heard this on the podcast, or I saw it on the website, I saw it on Twitter. They'll give you a friends and family discount. I can't tell you what that is, but I guarantee you they'll give you a friends and family discount on that sort of thing. Right, Ben? I'm correct about that, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And even though we share a last name, you don't have to share a last name with us to get the friends and family either. So
there you go.
A friend of High School Football America is a friend of ours.
That's good. So going away here, let's just give you a chance to kind of, get up on the soapbox there and talk directly to not only the Texas coaches, but coaches around the country that have had some issues with the huddle sideline. Again, it's not a pick on. It's if you've had, hundreds of coaches make the switch for reasons. So get up on the soapbox here a little bit and talk about why they should make the switch to GameStrat, or at least take the demo and then find out what's great about it.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend the demo to everyone. There's a lot there that seeing is believing, and really seeing how our system works sets itself apart and kind of speaks for itself. But in terms of what you mentioned with all those teams that do switch from huddle sideline, not something I like to go out and bash or talk badly about, but I would say just talk to other coaches, and that's kind of what we like to put out there too with our case studies. And when we speak to coaches directly, is this is what we hear from teams. Teams switch to us because there's some reliability issues here and there. Things like that. Slower download times is just something that is what it is with some of these other systems. And with GameStrat, you're going to get a reliable system that's going to work every single day, every single game in, game out, big stadium, small stadium, close sideline, far sideline, and you're going to get your video instantly too. That's a huge underrated feature that I think, especially if you're someone new, like a team in Texas that may not be familiar with it, understanding the value of how fast that video comes in is going to be huge. So, I would definitely encourage a demo to anybody. Definitely come our way, sign up on our websites, go directly through High School Football America, whatever works best. And then if you are somebody new who's thinking, hey, I've got Huddle, let's just go with Huddle Sideline, it's quick and easy. Don't even listen to me. Search Huddle Sideline on Twitter and see what comes up.
There you go. And folks, as I said, this is my 50th year in the media business, 20th since we founded High School Football America. I take my reputation extremely, extremely seriously. It is no joke. I mean, I don't deal with people in this business, and there's a lot of pretenders out there at many different levels, and I don't want to start naming names, but what I will name is GameStrat. If I didn't believe in them and what they've done for coaches that I've turned them over to, I wouldn't have been on this. Well, they wouldn't be partners. I wouldn't have been on this podcast, et cetera, et cetera. This company is the real deal. So please check them out. Sign up for a demo at GameStrat.com. Ben, thanks for taking the time there. I have a feeling you're going to be very busy over the next 2 or 3 months, and that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. No, thanks, Jeff. Really appreciate the time and happy to chat.
Again, folks, whether you're in Texas or somewhere else in America, you've got to check out GameStrat, which is America's premier sideline instant replay system. Over 500 programs have made the switch out of Huddle Sideline. Why? Outstanding reliability on the part of GameStrat. Faster speed than Huddle Sideline. Plus, GameStrat has awesome customer service, and they have plans priced right for every coach's budget, and you can get a discount if you mention High School Football America. It's that simple. To get that demo, go to GameStrat.com or click on the GameStrat banner ad located on every page of HighSchoolFootballAmerica.com. And that's today's High School Football America podcast. I'm Jeff Fisher.